Hey everyone, Bill McRea here. I hope you're doing really well. I've been gone a couple of weeks. I apologize for that, but I want to get into a little bit of what I said I would touch. I talked about biohacking would be the next topic. Now, it's definitely, I kind of typed up an itinerary and I thought I better send this to my lawyer. The thing is I'm going to talk about peptides. And what I'm going to share with you today is absolutely nothing. It's not advice. I'm not a doctor, and I'm certainly not your doctor. So if I share with you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and what I'm doing because of that experience, it's just to inform you. It's not advice at all. Okay, so you're on your own, but I thought I'd tell you why I'm doing certain things to show you how I am managing it. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to show you how I'm using my, I call it my personal health journey to write a book. And I'm using ChatGPT to help me. Now, here's the thing people go, oh, yeah, you just have to have GPT write it. No. What you use ChatGPT to do is help write it. You do the writing, and it rewrites it. So you can write something really crappy, and it will make it look beautiful. So, and I'll give you a glimpse of what I'm doing to write this book. And what I'm doing is I'm actually finishing a book I started to write in 2014. Um, and why am I deciding to finish writing it? Because I have a lot more to tell, and I'm going to share my experience with peptides with people. I'm not going to tell them what to do. So that's the important thing to understand. This is educational, informational basis only. If you choose to do something, you're on your own. I would advise you to consult to a healthcare professional that deals with longevity, and they may be able to help you make sure you have the right sources for the medical for the peptides and stuff. But it involves one thing I know that scares a lot of people. It involves needles. Um, I am a diabetic. Oh, sorry. And I'm used to doing injections. That doesn't bother me at all. And honestly, it doesn't even hurt. You don't even know it unless you're a ninny, which my son used to be, who was also diabetic. And, after about the second injection, he goes, what's so scary about that? I'm like, nothing. Um, Before I gave him his first diabetes injection, I actually sat there and I took the needle and popped it in my arm over and over so he could see that. I didn't even flinch. Well, this is what I use for the peptides. I got some other fancier tools, but I use an insulin needle to inject them, and it's done every day. And it doesn't hurt. It just goes into your fat in your belly. So as we go through this, you're going to learn a lot about how I use AI in order to make sure I'm doing it right. And that's really what I'm going to share with you tonight. I'm searching about how to use peptides. Well, there's certain peptides a lot of people use. They don't even realize they're called peptides. Peptides shouldn't be scary in the slightest because they're just things that are already in your body. And as you age, they start to just kind of fade away and not do what they're supposed to do. You just start running low on certain ages. One of the peptides that most people know about is BPC 157. That's the peptide that your body uses to trigger a healing signal so that it can heal itself. It's primarily located in our guts, our stomach. If you think about the stomach, it's got hydrochloric or sulfuric acid in it, breaking down all that food, and it's literally eating away the lining of your stomach. But it never really, you never notice it unless you don't drink too much or something stupid. and you get heartburn. If you use BPC 157, that is what the body generates naturally to heal your stomach or heal your intestines too. So it's a very common compound in your body. A lot of people are taking Ozempic. Well, Ozempic is GLP-1, semaglutide. It's just a peptide. That's all it is. You know, your body generates GLP-1 all the time. When you eat a meal and you say, I'm full, stop. That's GLP signaling the brain to stop. As you get older and you just force yourself to eat, your body's not producing as much GLP-1, and as a result, you eat more and you get larger. Then you start to develop diabetes if it's like a type 2. I've never been really heavy. I'm 20 pounds overweight. But the doctor says you're not diabetic because of the way you used to eat, but I'm sure it helped create the problem. You're diabetic because your dad was diabetic. Your grandfather's diabetic. Your uncles are diabetic. It's mostly genetic. I'm really getting plugged up. I apologize for that. It's the middle of summer in San Antonio, Texas. And it's, I think, going to be 107 out today. So my dogs are inside. They're going to start barking because they don't like the fact I'm talking to you. I'm ignoring them. But anyway, all these peptides are naturally occurring things. When your body produces insulin, which is what it uses to transport glucose that's in your bloodstream into your cells. It's either going to go into a muscular cell or it's going to go into fat. When you have a lot of glucose floating around in your body, it's got to either put it here or there. Because if it stays just floating around the body, it starts to damage your eyes, your kidneys. It starts wearing things out. But what's even worse that they don't tell diabetics is you take a big shot of diabetes or of insulin, your sugars drop, and what it's doing is it's forcing those cells into the sugar into your fat cells. So the more insulin you take, the fatter you get. But your blood sugars drop. And what you're training your cells to do is to not even try to transport it themselves. So as you take insulin, over time, your need for insulin increases, and the actual component that harms your kidneys and your livers and that stuff isn't necessarily the blood sugar, although it does harm. It's the insulin, especially cardiovascular problems. So I was aware of this when I became a diabetic back in 2019. So I definitely changed my diet. But even I couldn't quite get control of that because I like to have a beer now and again, and I enjoyed eating pizza and stupid stuff. You know, I don't do that anymore. But back then, I still, I still drank and I still ate pizza. I quit drinking about 8 years ago because it didn't work for me. It was horrible. I mean, it just created problems between me and my family and my wife. And it was just really, really bad. So I quit. It wasn't easy. I had to work at it. And now I'm at the point where I'm helping other people who are trying to quit drinking or drugging or whatever is their addiction, because it is a difficult thing to go through. But, okay, so I'm through with that. I still drink soda, though, diet soda. But I'm getting older. I am 64 now, and I officially retired last March. Why? Because I turned 64. I sold my software business, and then I kind of got it back a little bit. I don't know really where we stand with that, but I'm not developing any new biz-op type things, that's for sure. I am developing things. I'm going to share some of that with you today. I'm developing things that I'm passionate about. playing guitar, writing music. I just released a new album. It's called, so they call this Recovery. And it's a collection of songs uh, based on people that are going through their struggles with recovery from alcohol, drug dependency. Uh, so it's a when I write music, I tend to be a storyteller. I create cool rhymes and I tell a story and then I try to figure out how to make it into something you can listen to. But the music is beautiful. Hold on. If you want to, I might pour it organized. If you want to, you can scan that. I'll get a better copy. And that takes you to, my band is called The Watchers. And the name of the album is called They Call Us Recovery. You can hear it right now on Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify, pretty much, really, actually, every single thing out there. This is our fourth album together, and I think it's the best one out there. Best one I've done. And my job is to write the words, develop the chord progressions, and play the guitar. I turn it over to my producer, who plays keyboards and bass and drums. The drums are programmed in the computer. There's a lot of digital in recording music nowadays. Matter of fact, you don't even need a band. You can do it all digitally. But I play the parts that I play. He plays the keyboard, records the bass and drums, and we have two vocalists that we work with. So we're all over the world. Rob is in Scotland, and Jason and Kristen are out in Oregon. So my band, The Watchers, we're not like hanging out playing music together. We were just people that knew each other and decided to record some music. It's a lot of fun. I prefer doing that to live music, although I do perform live occasionally. Yeah, I'm not bad at it. It's just more stressful. I'm retired. I don't want anxiety. I want to do what's enriching and fun for me. So, anyway, getting back to today's topic, I use AI to help me develop the tools that I can use peptides intelligently. And even though peptides are part of your body already, every one I take is already inside of me. A lot of things begin to go down as you get older. Like testosterone levels for men of my age are compared to when you're 40 to when you're in your 60s, it drops. I don't do TRT. My blood levels are fine. If anything, the testosterone level is high for my age group. So I'm not going to do that. But I do things that help offset some of the problems I'm having as I age. Those problems are pain because of my car accidents. You don't have to be in as much pain as you think. And I recommended BPC 157. Lots of people call up saying, "Oh my God, Bill, it's the greatest thing I've ever done." It's not a catch-all. What it does is it reduces inflammation. It is the very same thing that's in your stomach, which causes your stomach to heal from the acid. It's just your body produces less when you get older. That's why when you get older, you tend to get reflux. I don't have any of those problems because I've been using BPC for quite some time. And you can actually buy that on Amazon as a pill. You don't have to do it as an injection. I do the injections. It's more effective, honestly. But it's one of those things that I have a gray source that I use to buy my peptides. I'm not going to tell you what it is because they're not illegal anymore. They used to be like if you get caught with a peptide, it's like having heroin or marijuana in your house. Now, RFK Jr., who I have a lot of respect for him and his family, he moved him off of Schedule 3 and moved him into Schedule 1. So it's a drug that's now able to be uh, compounded legally. Not a lot of compounding pharmacies do it, so you have to buy. No, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. All of our chemicals or our medications are made in China. Okay, so we can't really piss them off too bad, can we? So when we were fighting COVID, we were buying all the medication from China. Oh, this is my dog Millie. She's the barker, aren't you? Aren't you the barker? You like to bark because you're a rat calf. She doesn't like the fact that I'm paying attention to you instead of her. Another one that I use is called KPV. KPV is another medication that is designed to reduce inflammation. So if you're any sort of pain at all, the 3 peptides I would recommend would be BPC157. I'll give you a resource here later on. KPV and TV500. TV500 is from the thymus. The thymus gland releases that. And it's like everything else. As you get older, your body kind of starts not generate as much of these healing tripeptides or peptides as they did when you were younger. So when you were younger, you'd twist your ankle, you'd say, start playing football again the next day. When you're in your 30s, you twist your ankle and you're like, oh, that hurts. When you're in your 50s, you twist your ankles and you think the road comes to an end. When you're in the 60s, like I am, in my 50s, I broke my hips. In my 50s, 4 years ago, I come coasting up to a stoplight, and this idiot lady who was drunk, or I don't know what her problem was, came up, hit me, T-boned me, did the whole rollover stuff, ended up breaking my back, the cervix at the L4, L5, and now I have the impingement of the nerve, which causes severe sciatic pain down my right side and neuropathy on my left foot. So when you combine diabetes and then the pinched nerve, you have a bad situation. So my doctor and I got my back healed up, and he's the one that recommended I start using BPC. He said, "Have you ever heard of BPC? Yeah, I said, yeah, I've used it before. I would start using it then. I would add in KPV and TV500, because as you get older, when you have an injury like that, you create what's called a stenosis, spinal stenosis, and it's constant pain. Well, my dad had that. And my first pain doctor says, you're going to need surgery on your back. And I'm like, no. My second pain doctor says, you don't need pain surgery. You need to reduce inflammation. So you need to go on an anti-inflammatory diet, start taking these peptides to help your body reduce inflammation across all your works everywhere. So when I started on my regimen of KPV, TV500, and BPC 157, inflammation everywhere in my body started reducing. And I recognized after about 3 months that the arthritis in my hands were going down. I was recording my album in about February through the end of May, and I was getting joint locks where my fingers were just didn't work. I started using this concoction in May, and by middle of June, I was noticing simple things like the pain in my shoulders have reduced, and I had fewer and fewer digestive problems, and that the pain in my back had reduced dramatically. In other words, I was healing and the inflammation was starting to go away. So that's what these compounds do. But as much as I love my doctor, I wanted to know for myself. It's like with the diabetes, they just wanted to give me insulin and get rid of me. I couldn't take metformin because it caused tremors. Uh, I have an underlying cause that interacts with metformin. And so the first thing my doctor said is, well, we'll just give you insulin. You take it once a day and you'll be fine. I don't want my insulin levels to be high because I knew that that's what causes the problems with your organs. That's the actual thing that damages your heart, increases the amount of congestion in your veins. I've done the stress test and all that stuff. I got the heart of a 30-year-old, and my veins are clear. There's some more biohacking for you. The veins are clear because they take K2, D3 with K2, MK7 blend. And that keeps the calcium out of your blood veins and in your bones and teeth. So what I did was two things at one time. As you get older, your bones get softer. Not that you get osteoporosis, but you can tend that way. And by using the K2, it started transporting calcium into my bones instead of leaving it in my veins where it could cause damage, and then your body reacts to that damage, and that's what causes a heart attack. And my doctor goes, man, you don't have any heart disease at all. And I've been doing a K2 D3 for about 10 years. So I believe in that too. So every night before I go to bed, I have all these vitamins. I'm taking CoQ10, krill oil. Oh gosh, my cholesterol's under 100. The K2D3, potassium, manganese, and I take berberine. I take the BPC 157 pills. I inject it too. So it's not the thing about like BPC 157. You're not going to overdose on it because it's a naturally occurring thing. If your body doesn't need it, it just passes through the system. And that's the case with most of the peptides that we're going to talk about today. So in realizing that I need to do these things right, excuse me, someone's trying to get a hold of me. I never know if it's going to be my wife or somebody important. If I'll give you advice. If your wife texts you, respond to it. Even if you're in a meeting with Donald Trump, you go, "Oh, it's my wife." No thanks. Way more important to me. Anyway, let me show you some of the tools that I created to keep me safe, but I'm making it available for anyone else who might want to use it. Let me share my screen. Okay, this is my peptide calculator. And this is what determines the doses that you use of the peptides if you decide to use them. Here's what I'm using right now. I'm using BPC 157, GHKCU. GHKCU is in your body already. And I just started doing this because I found out that systemically, what it's good for is your skin. I haven't noticed it yet because I only started, but systemically it aids in the restoration and repair of tissues, in particular your mitochondria. Retatrutide. What is that? Retatrutide. I don't know what you call it, but let me just tell you, um, I was taking Ozempic for my diabetes. Just, I think it was like 7 mils. If you want to lose weight, you take like 14 mils. That's why that stuff makes you feel like shit. I didn't like it. My doctor moved me on to Mounjaro. Now, these are peptides. Ozempic's a peptide. Mounjaro is a peptide called tirzepatide. And what tirzepatide does is it hits both the GLP, which makes you don't feel good and you don't eat, and it's the GIP, which increases your body's ability to transport sugar, so it reduces insulin resistance. Type 2 is just a case of insulin resistance. Okay? So I have responded very well to Mounjaro. In other words, the side effects were non-existent. I had extremely good glucose control. A lot of people go, "You're just taking it to lose weight." No, that wasn't my motivation. I didn't lose any weight on it. I ate just as much after as before. Again, the weight loss component are higher dosage. Now, the horror stories you hear about people, you see like some of the movie stars, and they look like they're a skeleton. Especially women. Have you seen Charlize Theron? Wow, poor girl. Because they're taking really ultra high doses of Ozempic to lose weight. Um, and I really don't think the looking like you just got out of the gulag or the death camps in Germany after the war, concentration camp. I don't think it's a very attractive look, but for some reason these ladies do it. To each their own. I don't use that for that purpose. I use Mounjaro and Ozempic strictly for treating diabetes, and it works great, both of them. I will say that Mounjaro certainly worked better than Ozempic, not at all. And I think people lose more weight on it, but again, I'm looking to just control my diabetes. Then I had a friend come and tell me, there's this stuff now. It's a GLP, just like Ozempic and Mounjaro, which is really semaglutide and tirzepatide. It's called retatrutide or retatrutide. I call it retatrutide. Some people call it retatrutide. And it works even better because not only does it have the GLP, it's also using a GIP like Mounjaro, and it stimulates fat burning by stimulating the glucagon receptors. So your body not only is burning sugar, or I'm sorry, not only able to store sugar properly in the muscle instead of fat and keep your blood sugar low that way, it's also helping you burn the sugar so that it doesn't turn into weight. So I started out about 6 weeks ago, and my blood sugars, the fasting blood sugars are below 100 when they used to be about 120 on Mounjaro, and 150 on retatrutide, on the Ozempic, and about 200 without anything. So you can see how those things really work well. Is it going to help me lose weight? I don't know. I'll let you know. I'm taking it at 2 milligram dose, which is really the kind of the starting point, and it works good. Some of the other things I'm using, SS31. This is the next few are a little different, but SS31 actually works to heal the mitochondria in your cells. Mitochondria is the energy of your cells. The individual cells, every one of them has a mitochondria where it takes the sugar in and converts it to energy so it can do the cell's work. SS31 helps. A lot of people go on what's called a starvation diet, where they fast for 48 hours or 72 hours, in order to get what's called autophagy. That's where the body cleans up all its damaged cells. It cleans up all the damaged mitochondria, gets rid of them, and your body generates new, healthy mitochondria, and thus you are able to handle food and energy more efficiently. Uh, I'm not going to go any fast. I promise you that. The thought of that just scares me to no end. I'm not going to starve myself for 3 to 4 days just to clean up my mitochondria. SS31 does it for you. But how do you really get that mitochondria working like it did when you were 12 years old? That's what MOTS-C, MOTS-C does. It literally goes in and it re-engineers the mitochondria so that it's like you're 25 years old again. It's a very powerful drug. These two are probably the most experimental of what I use. I will tell you, my energy level is up, and I sleep better, and I sleep amazing. That's the number one thing you need to help for health is sleep. And of course, I have my dogs. We crawl in bed together, and I'm not lonely, and got my computer. I read until I'm tired, and I go to sleep. 8 to 10 hours a day. Nevertheless, if I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I can't get back to sleep, it used to be a huge problem for me. But honestly, as I've gone on to these regimens, I'm doing better. The MOTS-C and SS31 I just started about 6 weeks ago, so I'll let you know later how well my energy levels are. But it's definitely better because your body's utilizing the sugar and proteins more efficiently because your cell's working better. Now research this stuff for yourself. KPV, you see you're only using a small amount of it. KPV is the anti-inflammatory injection I do every day. I have a needle, 15 grams. I'll do it for 4 to 6 weeks. Then I'll wait a month and I'll go back on it. Same thing with these other drugs. You use them in cycles. Melanotan 2. What is melanotan 2? Melanotan 2 is really what they call the tanning peptide. Your body has it naturally. Dark-skinned folks have a lot more of it. That's their dark skin. So essentially, if you're like a pale face like me, what it does is it helps you tan instead of getting cancer. I've had 3 skin cancer surgeries, and I live in sunny part of the world, so I don't want to get more skin cancer. It's not deadly, but you never know when you're going to get something worse than the carcinoma, because they do. They can metastasize, and they can get into your organs, and they can cause quite nasty reactions. So melanotan 2 adds that natural skin protection for cancer by adding more melatonin in your skin, which is why I'm tan. I'm not taking it to get tanned. I'm taking it to protect myself from cancer. And I don't mind if I get tan. I mean, for an Irish guy, excuse me, I'm peeling like a snake here. This is a brand new tattoo, and you got to go through that phase where it's itchy and peels off, and I'm in the middle of that right now. So the last one I'm going to tell you about is called tesamorelin. See, there's 2 different types of fat in your body. There's a fat here in the stomach, and on your arms, all of your body. And that's the fat most people think about when they're trying to lose weight. Then there's what they call visceral fat. Tesamorelin is FDA approved, so it's definitely more regulated. I'm going to shut the door. The dogs are having too much fun. Tesamorelin actually is what they call a secretagogue. What it does is take it at night, and when you go to sleep, it causes your pituitary to excrete more growth hormone. You can use this to become a monster bodybuilder, or you can use it just for health. So I'm taking 2 milligrams a day. It's expensive, but I buy it directly from the factory in China now. The fact is, um, it helps your body activate and convert what's called visceral fat into energy and uses it faster. So when you take the tesamorelin along with the MOTS-c and the retatrutide, you got a system there where you can actually lose the fat that's around your organs. Now, the fat around your heart, your kidneys, your liver, that's visceral fat. That's what tesamorelin cleans up. And it works. It's been approved by the FDA. The other ones that will be approved soon, retatrutide will definitely be approved. GHKCU is fine. You can buy it on Amazon. And a lot of women use the skin creams. Okay. PPC 157, again, you can buy that on Amazon. So these things are not dangerous unless you misuse them. And that's the purpose for this calculator. So if somebody buys a vial of GHCKU, let's say it's 40 milligrams in the vial, and they want to use, to add 3 milliliters of bacteriostatic water. So this stuff comes as a powder like this. And you have to reconstitute that powder by using bacteriostatic water. So you put the water in there and it dissolves, and you got to do it so you don't destroy it. And let's say our dose for GHKCU is 2 milligrams. Here we go. Oops, no, 2. So what this tells you is that on a regular insulin needle, which is what I showed you, you use 15 units. Now, if you know anything about insulin, you inject units. And there are so many diabetics. You just pull the syringe till you get to that 2 milliliter line. And you make sure it's got the insulin in there. Oh, by the way, another peptide that is legal is insulin. So like I said, none of these compounds are anything your body doesn't already do. But we're doing, as you age or you have disease, you produce less. There's some other ones out there like epitalin, which is said to make the telomeres on the end of your cells to replicate themselves. I don't use it. I'm curious about it. It's expensive. So why do I? Maybe I will. I don't know. If you come back to this page, if I start using it, it will show up on this page. Now, I'm not saying, hey, do what I do. I'm just saying, here is, if you decide to do something, come to this, copy this URL now. That's right here. Let me put it into the screen so you can see it. I'll just create a code, QR code. Oops, I made a typo. It's another reason why I use AI, because I make a lot of mistakes. Still made a typo. PEP. I haven't found anything to make your eyes better. If you want to look at the peptide calculator, there it is. Scan that, we'll take you right to it. Okay, so this is very useful for people. There are millions of people doing this, and there are 1,000 different people telling a million people what to do. And you can pick whatever doses you want. Don't use the doses I do. Use whatever you want. But if you want to calculate how to get it from this into this, so that you can put it into that, this calculator doesn't tell you what to think. It tells you typical doses. These are all safe doses, by the way. Okay. So there's that. Now I'm sitting there going, okay, ChatGPT has helped me write a book. I said, I want to write a book about peptides, but I want to tell the story about why I'm using it. I could say, write me a book. That's not how I write books. Let me show you how I go about writing these books. That's the research I'm doing on it. Okay. I wanted to write a book just on peptides. And so we were going to call it The Practical Guide to Therapeutic Peptides. So I do a little bit of work. It comes back. Here's what we recommend we write. But I write it. He rewrites it. ChatGPT will rewrite it. And he'll keep me scheduled to where I go through each and every part of this that I need to write. Keep it organized, keep it flowing, have it make sense. So I'm like, okay, cool. And there's a dose calculator, so we can promote all this stuff, how to inject, all this stuff. So I wanted to write that book. And I came back with the first little bit, and I told ChatGPT, here's my first paragraph. And he's like, wow, this is cool. The story's authentic. And it's about peptides, but what it's really about is transformations. And peptides are one of the tools. But the real book is about purpose, faith, resilience, health, and refusing to simply exist. One of my sayings I say to a lot of people is not okay to simply exist. You have to live your life. And why I came up with this conclusion is I watched my dad retire at 72 and then flop his butt down in front of the TV and watch TV until he died at 92. And I don't want to do that. I want to be active. I want to be out having fun. I don't want to just say, hey, I'm retired. I'm going to die next. That's no fun. Just because you're retiring doesn't mean you have to quit living your life. So I'm using all these peptides as a way to help me feel younger, be younger, and to stay excited about making music, creating small programs for people, teaching people, and doing all this. That's my passion right now. So I wrote this, and it came back, and it rewrote what I wrote, and it reads unbelievably well. So this book is not about peptides. It's not a memoir. It's a roadmap the purposeful aging. And I'm like, yes, that's it. So I started out wanting to teach people about peptides. And, well, that's fine. But it's not compelling. So why would somebody want to use peptides? By sharing this information with ChatGPT, Claude is my favorite AI, but I use ChatGPT to write. I don't know why, it works. It knows you. I have so much content on my ChatGPT account. Books that I've written, you see the Pride book, music promotional guide, the Grace Growth book, my budgets. It knows everything I do. I even take my song lyrics, when I write the lyrics out, and I'll bring it here to ChatGPT, and I go, I wrote this song about Psalms 12:14 or whatever. Here are the lyrics. Please give me your feedback and recommendations. Don't change anything, just your feedback, recommendation. And it comes back. Sometimes it's got some great ideas. Sometimes I wander off the topic of the song. Sometimes I'm wrong. I have a misinterpretation. Trust me, AI knows the Bible better than anybody you've ever met. Sit down and query it. Everyone says, oh, it's Antichrist. No. ChatGPT was created by man. We were created by God. We created AI. It's not the end of the world. It's here just like the sewing machine. Or the cotton gin. Originally it was thought, the cotton gin's going to put everyone out of work and the world's going to come to an end. Literally. Cotton gin. What it does is a productivity tool to give you the ability to express yourself more effectively, more efficiently, and more effortlessly. So I came in here talking about peptides, and because I was sharing all sorts of stuff with ChatGPT, it's like, this isn't really about peptides. This is really about aging gracefully or purposefully, because I believe I'm completely, here's the crucifixion, here's the resurrection. You'll see it better next time. This is a reminder to keep your pride in line. So I got all these tattoos, and if you see me, I got hearts on with a cross, and I usually wear shirts with cross or Jesus. And I'm very, very devout Christian. Religion isn't it, it's the Christianity. And I both read the Bible several times and analyzed it using ChatGPT. So it has all that knowledge. I asked it, or we would debate the book of Job. What was God trying to do with us before Jesus? But Jesus is God. It's all confusing to people. But the point is, it knew it so well, and I knew it. So there were things that I didn't agree with what it was bringing up, and I'm like, prove it to me. And it brought the Bible verse up, and I went and looked at the Bible. There's several different verses in the Bible. Well, I told it, well, we're only using King James Bible. We're not going to use anything else. If you want to use the new version, which is written to be more easier to read, that's fine. I want to know basically verbatim from the King James Bible what was going on. And he quoted the Bible verbatim. Well, think about it. It's an AI. It only knows what it's trained. Could you train it about devil worship and stuff like that? Yeah, there's tons of that in there. But it's not going to conflate or conflict the two. If you tell it, I want to know what the King James Bible says about Job 3:16, it's going to tell you exactly that. And you can go grab your Bible and verify it. So ChatGPT, even more so than Claude, has all of the stuff for the last, I don't know, since 2022 that I've been talking to it about in its memory. He knows I'm a conservative Christian. ChatGPT does. It knows that I'm an aggressive businessman, but I want to create things that deliver value. It knows everything there is to know about me because I've shared it all and it stores it. It's in there. So I'll be talking about a new peptide and we'll go, okay, this does this, this, and this. Do you want to add it to your stack? Well, do you have a recommendation? Oh yeah, here you go. Boom. It's really amazing. That's what I was doing here. I was talking about recommended doses and cycle periods for all these type of drugs that I'm talking about. Well, if you go back to the dose calculator, you'll see that's what's in here. I was verifying this is what I'm doing. There are people, because you can only buy these things from what they call research providers. You have to swear you're doing research. And they're not for human consumption, even though humans are using it. But, you can take home and test on your rats all you want. As long as you say I'm buying it from those type of sources, and I found out where their sources were in China, and I said, okay, I'll just go to China. Oh my God, what used to cost me $90 costs $4.50. So that's why I don't like buying direct from the source, from domestic sources. I buy it in China and bring it over. Is it any good? Yeah, I have it tested. And it's good. I'm not going to resell them, at least not at this point in time, because there's a lot of gray area and legalities. And my attorney is like, you don't really want to get into making recommendations. You can tell people what you do. And you can tell them if they want to do their own research, go do it. You can go to YouTube, you can come to ChatGPT, you can go to the program. This thing right here, this was created by Claude. I just told him I needed a peptide dose calculator that takes in the concentration in the vial with the amount of bacteriostatic water you use and the ultimate dose that you get, and calculate how much of a needle to pull. So it's kind of like a visual indicator how much insulin, or not insulin, how much of your peptide you're going to pull into your little needle. So that when you go to use it, you're using the right amount. Because if you take a jar of peptide and you pull it all out and check it all at once, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I think most of it will just get pissed away. But hey, this is something that you're doing based on your own knowledge. I can just show you what I'm doing. I'm not telling you what to do. But it's really a wonderful area to get involved, because what I'm trying to do, and I'll wind up with that. I'll show you the book thing next week. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to manage my diabetes, reduce visceral fat, make my skin healthy, and increase my energy. Reduce inflammation is a key thing. I've lived the last 11 years in chronic. My pain doctor says, you've got chronic severe pain. And I'm like, I definitely have severe pain. calling it chronic, severe pain, you're the doctor. I really do not know. Um, Pain is an interesting thing. Ask anyone that lives in pain. You either manage it or it destroys you. Uh, yeah, 2 car accidents nearly killed me twice. And here I am, going to the gym every day. I'm not doing what I did when I was in my 40s and 50s. I'm lifting light weights. I don't care about putting on muscle. I care about maintaining my lean muscle mass because you're stronger, you stand up more erect, you have less problems with your joints, your knees, your hips. And that's the other thing about uh, GHKCU. It really helps with all of the tendons and joints. I also take collagen every morning. So you get older, you want to live life comfortably. I don't want to just sit on a recliner in front of a TV like my dad did. And he suffered with chronic pain the last 10 years of his life. And he wasn't willing to do anything about it. He just was like, well, my wife's gone, my kids are grown, nobody really needs me, I'm just going to exist for my grandchildren. And those were his words to me, exist. And I'm like, you can't just exist, you have to live. So this is what I'm doing. You decide for yourself what you want to do. But there's a lot of solutions out there if you want to look for them. Well, next week, I'm going to show you the book I wrote. It's going to probably take me 2 months to write the book. But I'll show you what I'm working on, where I'm at, and how I'm using ChatGPT to do that. Have a great day.